judge will weigh in tomorrow on a case involving 2 death row inmates. Meanwhile, the Department of Corrections now has new options to carry out the lethal injection. This after 2 executions were stayed because the state didn't have the drugs. Fox 25's Rebecca Schleicher tells us what the inmate's attorney says is the real issue.
Clayton Lockett and Charles Warner are already supposed to be dead. Their executions were pushed back because a pharmacy that promised drugs for the lethal injection backed out. Now, after the Attorney General announced a shortage of the usable drugs, new rules announced by the Department of Corrections allow 5 drug cocktails to do the job. Critics say some have little, if any, testing.
It's getting so ludicrous now that I don't know why we just don't inject them with Comet or Windex or just whatever it is to kill people, because that's what we're doing now.
Attorney and former death penalty proponent Scott Adams says the system is flawed.
The problem is when you get involved in this system and you see the flaws by prosecutors, by police officers, by defense lawyers, you see that it is not really a viable option in a civilized society.
And attorneys for the convicted killers are fighting the latest move in court. Seth Day is out of town and spoke to Fox 25 over the phone.
Until we know what drugs they're going to use and where they're getting these drugs, it's impossible to determine whether it's going to be cruel and unusual for the inmate.
Day and his colleagues filed this brief against the new rules that give the prison warden full control over which drugs are used and the state law that keeps the identities of the pharmacies confidential.
This really is about government transparency, not about the death penalty.
But the state fought back, citing a pharmacy who got a bomb threat and one that faced a lawsuit in Tulsa after an inmate found out it would supply his final injection. The state argues against the cruel and unusual punishment claim, saying the plaintiffs allege nothing more than anecdotal evidence of inmates who have made comments after the drugs were injected or instances of choking and thrashing.
I just wish that we would grow up, become more intelligent, and do the right and fair thing, and I hope that that's what happens.
In Oklahoma City, Rebecca Schleicher, Fox 25 News.
A judge in Oklahoma County will weigh in on the constitutionality of the current law tomorrow morning, and of course we'll let you know what happens.